Ladies and gentlemen, howdy and aloha. We are here, you are there, and you are now rocking with the best. Thanks for tuning in to another live episode of Airey Bros Radio. Tonight we're going belly to belly for the ABR 2025-2026 NJCAA Wrestling Season Preview, highlighting the top junior college wrestling programs in the nation. Before we get rolling, y'all know the drill. This is a value for value show. So if you're getting any value out of anything we're doing over here, please give us a little value back. Check out that link, buy us a coffee. Make sure you hammer that like button and are subscribed on YouTube. Drop a comment. Every view, review, and share helps us grow and give back to the sports we love. Follow us on Instagram at Airey Bros Radio. As always, this episode is fueled by Black Sheep Endurance for all your ultra marathon and nutrition coaching needs. And as always, we're here to shine a light on the coaches, programs, and athletes we wish we had access to growing up as we were going through the recruiting process. If you're a wrestler looking for the next level fit, this episode is for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are rocking and rolling here tonight. We got a great lineup of some of the top coaches in the NJCAA. Joining us at 7 o'clock, we'll kick things off with the number 5 ranked Clackamas Cougars and head coach Brett Sanchez coming off a national runner-up finish and another powerhouse Region 18 title run. At 7:20, the number 3 ranked Iowa Central Tritons with head coach Luke Moffitt, a 7-time national championship program continuing to reload with elite returners and top-level recruits. At 7:40, the number 1 ranked defending national champions Indian Hills, led by head coach Cole Spree, is joining us, fresh off of setting the NJCAA all-time points record in 2025. And to close it out at 8 o'clock, the number 2 ranked Western Wyoming Mustangs with head coach Art Castillo, multi-time national champion program, returning for another loaded roster. All right, let's get rocking and rolling.
All right, Coach Sanchez coming in. Hey, Coach.
You guys hear me okay?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
sir.
How you doing, sir?
I kid. Now can I talk again?
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me?
Setting, turn up volume.
How about now?
Now I got you.
All right. All
You can hear
right.
me okay?
We
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good. Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. We're doing great. Excited to chat with you. And way back when we had Josh on a while back before he departed to go to the Beavers, but we know a little bit about the program, and we've been following along. Jimmy and I are both junior college All-Americans, myself in cross country, Jimmy in wrestling. So we love the junior college experience and what it does for athletes, and we're excited to chat with you this evening.
Yes, sir. You guys are JUCO products. I'm a JUCO product as well. So
That's it.
tip my cap to you guys.
So, Coach, how's the season treating you guys so far?
So right now everything's going pretty well. We've had 2 weeks of competition. November 1st was opening weekend for us. We went to the Mountaineer weekend at Eastern Oregon University where we had duels on Saturday and an open on Sunday. And then this last weekend we dueled our conference opponent, Southwest Oregon Community College on Saturday, and then at my clock on Sunday. So we put our guys a little bit through a ringer with back-to-back competitions, weigh-ins the past 2 weekends. This weekend we have a really big matchup against Southern Oregon University. They're currently ranked like 6th in the country right now in NEI. They recruited really well and have a good team coming back. So we're only giving these guys a Saturday duel and then let their bodies recover a little bit before we go out to Coeur d'Alene next weekend.
What's the difference with this year's team?
I would say this year so far, like everybody's been bought in from top to bottom. And really early on too. I would say the last couple years, I think, a lot of the, especially junior colleges and other programs, they go through with individuals kind of, think they have it figured out a little bit. And then it always takes like somebody humbling them a little bit at a tournament for them to, come up to you as a coach, like, hey, coach, what do I got to do to be better? And it's like, hey, we've been telling you, past couple of months now, So I would say right now, I mean, we started off on a really good foot with our first team meeting early September, and yeah, just the buy-in, the culture, it's been firing off in all cylinders really well right now. So yeah, can't complain right now, honestly.
Coach, who are the key guys that we need to know about this season?
So let's say like national returning All-American wise, we have Reggie Raiz. He made the semis for us in 2024, finished fifth place. We had him redshirt last year, and he's coming back this year as a year three guy, ready to go, ready to make some noise. I think they kind of have him ranked number 2 in the country right now, but he's doing a good job being a year three guy. And we also have Henry Dillingham. Henry Dillingham was a returning national finalist for us last year at 157 pounds. And he actually put on some good size right now. So right now we have him wrestling 174.
Dang.
So those are like, I would say, our top 2 returning All-Americans that we had. And we've had some really good transfers and really good incoming freshmen as well too. We had a transfer come to us. I think we decided to redshirt with them this year, but we had Jeremiah Zuniga. He All-American for North Idaho 2024. So we're gonna have him redshirt this year and kind of get his feet back underneath them and try to make some noise next year. But I'd say freshman wise, we had Paris Ruiz from California. He's a Buchanan kid, took second in the state in California. Flo had him ranked as a top 10 kid. He had a big time win at the California State Tournament. I would say Kelby Bernard, he's a kid from Allen, Texas, a couple time NJCAA All-American, 3-time state medalist. He's doing really well for us right now. He'll be wrestling 125 for us. And another one, Damian Montoya, another California kid from Buchanan High School. He's a NHSA All-American as well too, and placed at the California State Tournament. Transfer wise, we got Aaron Conception. He's going to be wrestling 165 for us. He's originally from Alaska, and he wrestled at CSU Pueblo last year, and he transferred to us, and he'll be wrestling 165 for us, like I said. And other than that, like, yeah, we have a couple of incoming freshmen that are really tough too that we're really excited about. We have Luciano Lopez. He'll be wrestling 184 for us. He's a couple-time Fargo All-American, U.S. Open All-American, couple-time medalist here in the state of Oregon. And Elijah Josie, he's another one from Maryland. National Prep All-American, NHCAA All-American. And we have him wrestling 197s for us. And we have another kid, heavyweight, named Mark Marin. He's from Clovis, California, wrestled at Clovis High School, 3-time California State medalist, 2-time Super 32 medalist, Fargo All-American. So we graduated a lot of guys. We don't have a lot of returning All-Americans like we usually do, but we're really excited about the incoming guys that we have right now and guys that are coming back this year, that redshirted for us last year, looking to make some noise for us.
Able to tap into your Clovis roots to get that heavyweight?
Yeah, man. So yeah, I got a good connection over there with the Clovis community, myself being a Clovis alumni, and my associate head coach, Abner Romero, he wrestled at Buchanan High School, so they're the top dogs in California right now, 3 miles away from my high school, so we've been able to pull in some Buchanan kids the last few years over here. And yeah, I can't complain, man. Those guys can wrestle.
What's the key to getting the East Coast guy?
So I would say that happened in 2011. So I wrestled here. I was Josh Roden's first California recruit back in 2009 through 2011. And 2011, we actually, Coach Roden was able to get Kagan Hanglovic from Pennsylvania. And, that's all it takes is just one individual from that one state to come over to a program, have a good experience, and then it just puts more attention to our program from those states. And then we go reach out to our resources over there from those states, and and it's all been a good experience for a lot of people. So it makes it a little easier for us, knowing with our tradition and our history. But obviously, myself and my coach staff, we still got to sell it, so they gotta fill us out, and think it's a good fit for them, and we got to do the same for us too, because we're very particular on who we want to bring in over here. And yeah, man, I mean, we can't complain with the California connection and the East Coast connections we've been having over here. And it's fun because, with junior college and everything like that, you're still getting like that 4 year experience and having kids from all around the country in one wrestling room, So yeah, there's no complaints over here with our connection over there with the East Coast.
Is there some regional trash talking going on in the room at all?
Always, man. Always. That's the funny part, right? Like, it could be about anything with, just in California in general, right? Like we typically have like Clovis kids in here, Buchanan kids, Gilroy, Poway, those are usually like the top programs in the state, so we're always, going back and forth each weekend pretty much. And then, with the California and the East Coast teams, like, there's a little bit of rivalry, like Pennsylvania, we're the toughest state in California. We're always going to back ourselves up too. And just like we get a kick out of it, man. It's pretty funny. And just seeing the different cultures and the different slangs too. Like, how some people say certain words that are, pretty common, so it's pretty fun in here, man. We try to have a good time, and these guys are building relationships over here.
Nice.
Coach, you mentioned you like to give the kids a 4 year experience, and you also said that you have a third year guy who's an All-American, and you have a returning All-American and then a transfer that's an All-American. How much does that help having those guys who are a little bit more seasoned that have been there for the freshmen to like look to them in the room?
It's huge. It's really huge, and it's huge for the guys, and it's huge for us as coaches too. Just having those 3 year guys that's been through the gauntlet a little bit, and talk about the 3 year guy that's been here. They know our coaching style, they know our expectation, our standards, and how we want things ran and operated. So it's really nice when they do take that initiative and they do take that role to speak up and help like the incoming freshmen or even some of the transfers at times, because it could be different for some transfers where they came from and how they operated, and maybe that's why they left it because it wasn't something that they thought it was going to be like. So it's really benefit to have those 3 year guys in here that's been with us, and then at the same time, having someone like Aaron Conception, really good kid, went to a program, didn't feel right for him, but just blessed to have another opportunity to do it over here with us and being around a group of guys that are have the same mindset and the same goal and the same ambition. And just having somebody that's a really talented wrestler and walking and talking what we're preaching, it's been really huge for our incoming freshmen to step in and just kind of and walk the line, and yeah, it's a huge benefit. It's been nice.
You also mentioned that you guys don't just take anyone. You're really looking for a certain fit. What is that certain fit that you're looking for?
For a lot of things, man. Well, first, we want you to make the program come first. Anything that we have set, practice times, fundraising events, social gatherings, study halls, like that's your first priority. And if they could do that, if they could fit the mold with that, that's a big step for us. And really, when you try to make the program come first, like you're not doing this for you, you're doing it for the brother next to you, and you're doing it for the incoming freshmen that are watching us as well too. So we really just want those type of guys that are coachable, and we want them to wear this program on their sleeve. We have this little slang called COE, and that's Clackamas wrestling over everything. And if those guys are down to do that, and when they're here on the recruiting trips, like we go through this whole PowerPoint of like how we want things ran, the standard, the expectation, and pretty much I tell them right after the PowerPoint, if this is a problem for you that you guys can't follow, then let me know. There's no hard feelings. And but if this is something you guys think you can follow, we'll continue with this recruiting trip. And so far, everybody's been digging the COE mantra, and yeah, so that's kind of, we want those guys that make the program come first to come over here and step in. And usually if they do that, it's a good experience for everybody.
COE, Rich, we're in.
Oh, I'm
See
definitely
that?
in.
Hey,
I'm
I usually don't tell anybody what that means. You got to be in the circle. So you guys are in the circle, all right?
All right, all right. Coach, with the gentlemen that are redshirting, is that a conversation that you approach them, or do the athletes come to you with that mindset?
It's a little bit of both, I
Handful.
would say. We it I would say, yeah, it's a little bit of both where we have guys that come in here and they kind of have that expectation right off the rip. And sometimes we're on the same page with that as well too. But there's times where guys that one example that want to do that, but they're coming in here and they're looking really, really good. And where they could be a guy for us at the end. Like we go, hey, this is what we're thinking, and this is what we think is best for you and for us. Again, we're trying to make the program. We're trying to put the best 10 guys out there. So there's those conversations where, sometimes you got to have those talks like, we want you to go for it. And there's those talks where we're kind of stacked up in a couple weight classes and we really like this kid and we think he could be somebody for us. And it'd be kind of silly for us to have, two or three, four guys going at that weight class when we could have one freshman redshirt and continue to develop and just kind of have like a little easier passageway to be the guy the following year, and that's kind of a hard conversation because sometimes those guys are like, well, coach, I think I'm ready right now. And I'm like, yeah, you are, you are, but we do have two, three guys already that's upperclassmen and we kind of like what they're doing. But at the same time, things could change. Like, so we still take these guys to the opens and see how they compete. And if they're still in the show and they're kind of doing their thing and competing better than the guys that we have that are in there right now, then that's a different conversation that we're gonna have. So if we really kind of play it by ear, we kind of have a good idea going into the season, and then we kind of reevaluate, how preseason is going and how the opens are going a little bit early November, December. And then, right after the first semester, then if we got to make a change, we'll make a change. If not, then we'll continue with the game plan that we had set out since preseason.
And with the 157 pounder, was he a big guy to begin with, or was that a Clackamas bulk job?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. So, yeah, we had a nutrition coach here last couple years who really got our guys buying in on being 100% grass fed, and so the last couple years our guys have been really disciplined on being grass fed beef, grass fed steaks, and just organic with everything. So we train year round, we practice, we weight lift year round. So we've had like Henry Dillingham, like he had to cut a little bit to get down to 157 last year. I still always tell him like that's probably your weight class, if you move on to the next level. But he did put on some good size. He got up to like, the high 80s, or low 90s with just weightlifting and being grass fed, So he's liking that 174 life right now. Just being able to feel good. And we'll see how things go. We're looking at possibly letting him go down to 65, so Reno, just because he thinks that's the weight class, and we do too. When he does transfer to the next school, he just kind of want to showcase what he's going to look like at that weight class to those 4-year schools when we go compete with some good competition.
So what are some of you mentioned Reno, you mentioned the duel with Southern Oregon. What are some of the key dates we should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, so Southern Oregon, obviously, like you said, next weekend is always a big one. We're gonna go to Coeur d'Alene to duel our North Idaho, our longtime rival. As you guys know, North Idaho is always competitive. They're always in the mix as well too. It's always good to have them in our conference because it makes it fun. They're the only team we do a home to home with every year. So we always get a good kick going over there, and they do a really good job with their community, selling out and making it fun. That their community likes to get on our guys a little bit, so our guys always enjoy going over there and trying to wrestle, put on a good show for that community and for our program. And obviously Reno, like I said, in the national duels, that's always a big one, or the NJCAA Coaches Association duels. That's always held like early mid-January-ish, and that's in old Miami, Oklahoma. So that's a good time for us to go see other NJCAA programs that we don't get to see throughout the year here in the West Coast, and that's always a good one, man. And there's a really good matches, really good battles that you're grateful to see. So you could go back home, reevaluate, clean some things up, and really try to make a push right there in February, March to make a run at the postseason.
Coach, I got one last one for you. You were stepping into a heavy role. You guys were 3-time national champs when Coach Roden left. 4-time. Sorry.
Oh, good. Coach Roden would have got upset if you said that. I had to
I'm
fix
a, I'm upset that I forgot.
it.
What was that like for you taking over that position, knowing what kind of role the team was on?
Honestly, just the soup. I was very excited for it. If you guys didn't know, I was the associate head coach here with Coach Roden from 2019 to 2021, and obviously wrestling for him as well too. So I got to be in here and see everything, eye to eye, and just see how he operated and how everything went on the business side of it. So when he decided to take that role at Oregon State, I was the first choice to take over this program. And it was an immediate yes for me because one, what this program meant for me as a student athlete, and then coming here and coaching, helping the Cougars out, win national titles, and just getting guys to a good experience and moving on to 4-year schools. Yeah, it was yeah, like you said, it was a big role, and you know, as I was getting hired, there was a lot of excitement, like I was gonna be able to keep this thing going and win 5, win 6, win 7, everything like that. And truthfully, yeah, man, we haven't gotten the job done. And that's what kind of makes it a little tougher, right? Because I feel like, a lot of expectation and a lot of standards with me being hired was to keep that thing going. And we've been super close. Year one was obviously tough because of the new transition, but 2024, we came in fourth after winning national duels, so we thought we had a really good team to get the job done. But as you guys kind of know, luck always has to kind of go with it. There's injuries, things that are out of your control that kind of can put some, stops to that. And then last year with us being the runner-ups, so we're trending in the right direction. But I've learned a lot in this position where it's less. I'm more the CFO, instead of being on the mat as much as possible and trying to handle everything physically, behind the scenes, business wise. But I have a really great coaching staff, and we've been together for the last 3 or 4 years now. So I've been putting a little bit more on them so I could handle, the business side behind the scenes. So I feel just very grateful with the experience and the mentorship that I got with Coach Roden, and just me kind of just learning at the same time, day to day, each year. And I feel like we're really close. And I'm feeling my groove here in this head coach position here at Clack.
Coach, I got one last one for you. It's sort of wrestling related, sort of just NJCAA and then NWAC. So we cover cross country and track and field as well over here. And as we're deep diving into all this stuff, we know that Clackamas competes in the NJCAA, but the NWAC has a championship for cross country and that sort of stuff. And they have the 3C2A as well. Is that just because there's not as many schools in the Pacific Northwest that have wrestling is why you guys are doing the NJCAA?
No, that's a great question. That's a really good question. I think, because I got all our sports here on campus, they're all in the NWSA. They call it the NWACs. And we're the only one, the NJCAA. And I really wish I had an answer for that because we do have, us, Southwest Oregon, Umpqua, we're all in the NJCAA with all the other ones still being in the NWACs from those institutions as well too. I think it's just more of like a financial thing for the institution to feel good to be fully NJCAA. I would like for us to all be NJCAA because I don't know. I just think it's a better opportunity to compete nationally. But these students over here are still getting opportunity, and they're still getting an education, and they're still having a good experience competing in something that they love, and still finding an opportunity to transfer to a 4-year institution if it's NJCAA or if it's in the NWACs. So yeah, I really wish I had an answer for that, and maybe one day I will.
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious because, like I said, we were covering cross country, and
Yeah.
I know Lane Community College has had a good tradition to cross country track and field, and I was wondering why we didn't see them in the JCAA, and I started deep
Yeah.
diving, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that NWACS even existed, but it seems like it's kind of like the California system.
Yeah, big time. I got a quick little story. We had a student athlete wrestling for us, and he became a multiple sport athlete for us. Preseason we're doing these 2 mile 12-minute challenges where you got to run 2 miles in under 12 minutes. And we did, these 4 mile runs all the time. And we had an individual who ran 2 miles in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. And just like, um, excuse me, not 5 minutes and 10 seconds, So, I mean, that's solid, right? So, and he ran a 4 mile in like 28 minutes, 27 minutes. I can't remember. And I just pretty much reached out to the cross country coach. I was like, hey, I got a guy over here who's, who could do something. Would you guys be interested? And so he was able to go over there and compete at the NWACS for these guys just this last weekend over in
Oh,
Spokane.
nice.
And yeah, it was like one of the top 5 runners for the team
Oh,
this
that's
year,
awesome.
and I just thought it was cool, right? Just like something that we're doing preseason. He came in here thinking he was, he's a full-time wrestler, and now he's going to be a two-sport athlete here at Clackamas, and it's just really cool. It's really cool. I thought that was a cool little story.
No, that's awesome, and that definitely can increase marketability for sure for a student athlete. That's
Big time.
that's what Jimmy and I were. We ran cross country and did wrestling, and then I did track in the spring as well. And Jimmy went the wrestling route in college. I went the running route in college. So
Very
that's
cool.
cool to hear. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Everything you said tonight, grass-fed steaks, we're in. So can't wait to watch Cougars this year, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope I can jump on with you guys in the future. And remember, COE, you guys are in.
COE, I love it.
COE.
Coach, best of luck with the upcoming competitions. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You guys too.
Take
See you
care.
guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach Brett Sanchez from Clackamas Community College. Coach Luke Moffitt is joining us from Iowa Central. We just had Dee Brown on the other night, so we were excited to get back to Fort Dodge.
Coach Moffitt, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hold on. We good?
We
Yes,
good.
sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Thank you for
I gotta
joining
get in
us.
place. I gotta
You're
get in
good.
place here.
You're good. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. It's a pleasure to chat with you this evening.
Thank you. You too. Hold on. I gotta get my few things up. All right, we're good to go.
All right. So, Coach, how is the season treating you so far?
Good. We got a lot of guys in the room that are hungry, want to make their stamp on this year, and first tournament was pretty good. I think we put 12 guys placing. You had 4 in the finals and 2 champs. So it's been good. I mean, it's early, so I don't get too worked up about early season.
Did you got a little bit of snow this past weekend?
A little bit. Just got to get the guys from Arizona and from Florida acclimated to Iowa.
Yeah. Well, we were following along with Coach Dee Brown in the cross country championships this past weekend, so we got to see all the runners enjoying the snowfall, and it was pretty intense. It reminded me of my junior college national championship experience in 1995, so it was very similar. So it was fun to watch. But Coach, what are some of the key dates we should be keying in on?
I mean, for us, each thing is just a stepping stone to the national tournament. Like I said, I don't get too worked up about dual meets or tournaments in the beginning of the year. I just want to see progression out of our guys and development. I saw we dueled last night, so we dueled Iowa Lakes. I think NJCAA rankings they were 10th, and we won 44-4. But I saw guys get tired. I saw guys get behind early in the match and battle back. and get the fall. For me, that's important. Now I'm seeing, a little bit of progression. And that's kind of what we're looking at. I like seeing guys battle some adversity in the match to see where they're at. And I like seeing guys not do it, so if they don't do it, then now I know, hey, it's something we got to work on. If I see it, definitely praise them for that and build on that. But that's it's just observing first semester. Second semester, it's guns out. We're going. Like we're trying to win.
Y'all have a duels on the calendar with Indian Hills this year?
Yeah, I think January 21st. So that should be great.
Is that at home or away?
We're at home, and it's IPTV, I think, is going to be there. So historically, growing up, I VHS'd every IPTV duel.
We used to get those back in New Jersey.
So, I mean, for me, I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's do it. And they're tough. I mean, we're tough. Well, I mean, hopefully by then we're tougher, and just give ourselves a chance,
Coach, mentioning Indian Hills and being in the conference you're in, do you feel going into the conference tournament, you guys win that, you're pretty much set for where you want to be going into nationals?
No. I mean, I don't care about a duel. Like, I'm trying to get my guys ready for the first weekend in March, and I've had 2-time national champs that never won a region. So, I mean, for me, it's like there's only one date that matters, really. The other dates matter, but if we don't win a regional title or if we don't win in a dual meet, I'm in my guys' ear telling them you're going to be a national champ. Like, that's it. I mean, I'm building them for the main stage, not discrediting, the things that come before it, but the ultimate one is what you do at the national tournament. So, yeah.
Coach, you've won 7 titles at junior college level. When people think of junior college wrestling, they think of Iowa Central. Being there for as long as you've been and being as dominant as you've been, has anything changed in your coaching in the time you've been there?
No, I'd say the standard is there with what we're trying to achieve. I would say the only thing that changes is ways to go about getting there. If you had asked me 20 years ago, I coached the guys 20 years ago a lot different than I coach the guys now. And maybe I don't think that's far off from what any other coach would tell you. You can't stay the same. You have to change, and you have to coach guys differently. Each guy's different. You got one guy that'll, run through a wall for you. You got another guy that questions every decision he makes, and you have to build confidence in that guy to move forward and believe he can do it.
Coach, you have 3 returning All-Americans, correct?
3 of our own, 1 transfer. Yeah.
Okay. Who are the other key factors that we should keep an eye on?
I mean, we got a lot of good young guys that are pretty tough, that are really ready to step in. I mean, Jarrell Miller, we're holding him out for a little bit to get him ready. Chancery Dean, Timu Membelig, St. Benedict's prep guy. We've got a lot of new guys that are hungry, and we've got some transfers that came in. But I think it's this team, especially this year, they just don't care. I mean, they're coming in and working hard. It's kind of, as a coaching perspective, like kind of going back to old school where guys just didn't care and worked hard, you know.
Coach, with the diversity of your roster of guys from all over the country, is there a good, healthy amount of like regional or state trash talking?
Maybe. I don't pay attention to it. There probably is, you know, there probably is. But I mean, for me personally, like if a guy comes up like talking about that stuff to me, I'm like, doesn't matter. I mean, are you gonna beat the guy at the end of the year? You know, that's the thing.
Coach, you seem like you have a pretty good system and being able to adjust for each individual athlete. Does anything surprise you now with what kids do?
Well, I think they pick up on more things, you know, and we don't coach a certain technique philosophy as far as I've never been a big fan of that. Find something in your wheelhouse that works for you to score points and master it. You know, get good. Like you can be good at it, but master it. You know, really, really be good at it. Where coaches are coaching their guys against what you do instead of coaching their guys of what they should do to score points on you. You know, it's be really good at something. I mean, if you're good on top, coaches are like coaching their guys against you instead of coaching their guys how to score. You know, so my thing is take what you're good at and let's pour some sugar on it and make it good. You know, great.
Coach, great. Coach, what kind of student athlete are you looking for at Iowa Central?
Somebody that's not afraid. I mean, that's the biggest thing is like guys come in, you know, somewhat afraid of maybe working hard or committing to a lifestyle. And that's a big part of it. You have to be willing to commit to a lifestyle to be good at wrestling or any sport if you want to be great. If you're afraid of that, then, I mean, you can kind of coax them into it, but you can't coach them into deciding that lifestyle. They have to make their minds up to do that, you know, on their own. So for me, it's yeah, I mean, I'm looking for people that are like heavily, you know, driven like any other sport and aren't afraid to buy in.
Coach, is the starting lineup solidified, or are you still waiting for some opens and some different things and maybe some wrestle offs to solidify those spots?
Yeah, it's far out there. It's
Yeah.
far out. I mean, we're like just in practice today, just got out of practice and you know, practice is great, but I've had a guy that's been banged up this year, just got cleared and he got after a guy today that I didn't think I didn't think it would happen. And obviously, you know, that guy's hungry. He's been maybe sidelined for a little bit, but he's looking to claim that spot. So there's competition, yeah, up and down the lineup for sure.
Coach, you talked about the first half of the season. Not obviously you want to win, but you know it's a long season, and what matters is at the end of the season. Can you just talk about that first semester for kids coming in, how much of a builder that is for freshmen in the system?
Yeah. I got a buddy. He goes, Moffitt, what's your dual record? I'm like, I don't care what my dual record is. Like, I don't even know my dual record. I go, these dual meets in the first semester. I mean, this is experimental time. What I care about first semester is I want to see that guy that gets a lead early in the match and is watching the clock late in the match and doesn't wrestle that last minute. I want to see the guy that it gets down by 6 and battles back. I want to see, there's so many scenarios that could play out where I'm just looking for individual growth out of all my guys. And I've had guys that were, I like wrote them off at the beginning of the year that ended up being national champs at the end of the year, like several. They weren't the first string guys at the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year, they're standing on top of the podium. And that, I don't think everybody gets that, but it's a lot of stoking the fire, seeing which kids are ready to buy in more than others and building those guys up. And even if they're not, blue chip recruits, some of those guys can go a long ways.
Winning the amount of national titles you have as a coach, if you don't win a national championship, can you still have a successful season?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We've we've had guys that, I always say we go to these open tournaments, that's a free job interview. Go out and beat some of these 4-year guys. Then all of a sudden their coaches are calling us, like, they always ask the same questions, how are they? Are they a good student? How good of a teammate are they? Do you like them? I'm like, yeah, they're good. Just happens to be they got a national champ or a guy, national finalist in front of them. I'm like, they're right where they need to be. If I had one more year with them, they'd win a national title.
You have quite a few stories like that with gentlemen that were, doing well at the Opens, but weren't the guy that went on to have success at a 4-year institution.
Yeah, 100%. We've I kind of tell the Phil Haas story. Phil Haas, Jersey guy, Little Ferry, New Jersey. He did all right. He won a national title, but his first year, man, he barely scored in the room. It was hard on him, but he worked out, trained 3 times a day. I'd be in my office at 9:00 at night. Lights are off in the hallway, and my door's cracked, and I'd see a shadow go by, and I'd hear footsteps up in the wrestling room above the office. And it's Phil. He's up there for his 3rd workout of the day. He's going an hour, stance of motion, in between rounds, he's going, maxing out push-ups. Next year, Jared Platt from Penn State transfers in. Jared Platt, Blair Academy, was like 3rd in the country coming out of high school. He transfers in. Phil Haas, any other kid would be like, well, I'm back up again for another year. Jared Platt ends up, having some back issues, is done for the year. Phil Haas steps in. He was 0-2 at the state tournament in New Jersey, steps in and wins the national title. And we won the team title that year, broke the record at the current time. And the next day he's like, Coach, by the time we get home, the gym I like to work out in is going to be closed, the day after he won it. So a kid like that, yeah, like some guys would be like, well, I'm not going to get recruited, this or that. He didn't wait for his opportunity to start training hard. He did it from day one. We have a lot of guys like that, not quite that extreme, but we have a lot of guys like that are looking for schools to recruit them and possible places that they could finish their college education. So,
Coach, is there anything about the program or this year's team that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
Oh, I mean, people ask me how we're going to be. I said, ask me in January. It's too early. There's junior college wrestling. There's a lot of things. I think, the team that, you got to progress guys, and guys have to do the right things. And it's not guaranteed. We got 3 number 1 ranked guys. It's not guaranteed. They got to do the little things day to day. I don't know where Iowa Central is going to be, but if you ask me in January, I'll probably give you a better kind of view.
All right. Coach, I got one last one for you when we're waiting for Coach Spree to get in the room here. I don't know if you remember, but I took a recruiting trip to Iowa Central. I was actually signed at one point to go to Iowa Central in 2005. I wound up staying back east and then wound up wrestling for Middlesex County College. But it's always been great to watch you and what you've done with the program since then, and always seeing guys out at nationals repping.
Yeah, man, we love New Jersey. We've always had a lot of Jersey guys come in, and um, it's a lot, like it's a lot different in Iowa than Jersey. It's a little more slow paced and a little colder, open field.
Yeah, it was definitely a culture shock. We went out there for the open that you guys do every year, and I remember my parents saying like, "Are you sure about this? You sure about this?" And at the time, I was wrestling crazy. I'm like, "They're the best place to go. Like, what's there not to be sure about?"
Yeah, we Jersey story real quick if I got time.
Yeah.
So we recruited David Greenwald.
Oh, I know Dave.
So David Greenwald gets here. His dad calls me. He's like, "Hey, coach, any chance David could wrestle Burroughs the first round of that open?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, pretty sure it can happen because we're making the brackets." So he wrestled Jordan Burroughs first round, both true freshmen, and Greenwald beat him. First tournament of the year for Burroughs, and it was a rematch of the state finals match. So just kind of a little weird history there, but
Yeah,
yeah, that tournament was tough.
Yes, it was. I remember now, hindsight being 2020, seeing all the future national champs that wrestle there, all the future All-Americans that wrestle there, every division that wrestles there. Yeah, it was pretty impressive. And I will tell you, my biggest regret about going out there that weekend was, even though I was 112 pounder, I really wish I would have wrestled in that tournament.
Gets you in there, man.
Yeah, yeah. Coach Moffitt, thank you so much for your time. It was good catching up with you, and best of luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you, guys.
Coach, have a great night. Good luck with the season and enjoy your Thanksgiving.
All right. Thank you guys for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on to Coach Cole Spree from Indian Hills, the returning, defending national champions. There he is.
Coach, I can't hear you.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on there. I was on and I don't know. So
All good, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you guys?
We're good. We're excited to chat with you tonight, catch up. How's the season going so far?
It's going pretty well. We've competed 4 times. We had 2 duels, 2 conference duels, and then we had 2 open tournaments. So
How's the team looking? And how's that everything with those duels and those 2 open tournaments turn out so far?
we're 2-0 in the dual meets. We wrestled Southeastern the first duel, and then which is a brand new program in Iowa, and then we just wrestled Ellsworth last night, and then the 2 tournaments. We haven't been able to get everyone into the lineup. Still kind of working through some things, but we wrestled tomorrow night against North Idaho, and we're hoping to have a few more pieces in the lineup that we haven't seen maybe early in the year. So,
Man, y'all are running and gunning right from the gate, huh?
Yeah, we go on like a little sprint at the beginning, and then we're off. After tomorrow, we don't compete again until December 3rd. So we'll just take some time to sit back, reassess, and help some guys with maybe some areas we need to improve on and finish up the semester.
Coach, you got 2 defending national champs. What's their mindset?
I don't know. I mean, right now, just get better. I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that we preach to them. Just continue to get better every day. And, as far as like trying to defend something or anything like that, that's not really our approach. It's just see how good we can get. And hopefully, at the end of the year, they're in a position where they can do something similar to what they did last year. So,
Coach, what's unique right now about this year's roster as you get ready to defend a national title?
we're pretty much the opposite of last year. So last year we were really, really young and didn't have a lot of experience versus this year we have a lot of experience back in the lineup. And so I don't know. It's just different management of them. So just how we train, how we go about things, and just what we're talking about on a daily basis. But we still have some young guys that we're bringing along that we're going to count on later. But yeah, just the demographic, as far as, age, definitely is a switch. So
Having that experience in the lineup, does that make your job easier as far as those guys kind of taking on an assistant coach's role and pushing the younger guys along?
a little, but I think sometimes it makes it harder. I just don't want to allow them to ever become complacent. Just because they've done it, they've accomplished something. We haven't accomplished everything. And so just making them stay hungry all the time. So,
Coach, you guys feel any pressure with, I believe, 2 in a row, correct?
no,
No,
one.
one.
The women
women.
have had 5 in a row. The
All right.
men, this was our first one. So
Sorry, I gave you one without earning it. My bad.
I would love to have 2, but no, unfortunately we have 1. So
do you feel pressure, or is it just a new season? Last year was last year, and we're here to get another one.
not really. We haven't really talked about it. I'm sure like the guys have talked about it a little bit, but it's not something that we've had like open discussion about, as far as like team coaches. We're just concerned with what we can control. We talk about that a lot, just doing what we can do, controlling what we can control, and that's just getting better every day and having positive attitude. And no, I don't know. It's only November, so we haven't really. I don't know. I would hope that we can avoid thinking that far down the line. As far as March. I don't know. These guys do a pretty good job of understanding. Just what it takes to be successful, and to be successful, you got to take care of today. And then tomorrow we got to take care of tomorrow, and then so forth and so on. So,
Coach, what new faces have impressed you so far in the room?
We've got some talented freshmen. I think we got a little 25-pounder. He'll step on the mat for the first time for us tomorrow. He competed in an open, but Charlie Dykes, he's a transfer freshman out of Central Missouri. He won the Grandview Open last year, and he dominated the Milliken Open last weekend, and he's done great. Ollie Webb, our little 33-pounder out of Georgia, kind of an unknown, ton of talent. He won the Simpson Open, and then he got second last weekend, but he beat a 2-time NAIA All-American in the semis. Jakari Clark, he beat a returning All-American on our team to get the starting spot right now at 49. And then this last weekend, he actually beat the kid that was the #1 seed at the NAIA National Tournament from Campbellsville, a couple-time All-American. So this early in his career to have that kind of success is pretty big. And there's a few others, but yeah, those are definitely some guys that have really stood out early. So
Got some good wrestlers coming out of Georgia nowadays, don't they?
yeah, there's talent everywhere anymore. You've seen the club, and then the national scene is, people are traveling now. So every sport. So
The guy from Georgia, he won a Fretwell's, guys?
no, he's actually out of I think he trained out of he's like close to the border, so he trained out of UTC, University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. I'll say that I want to say it's like Grindhouse or something. I'm gonna say the wrong club, but there was a small club out of there. But he's just out of a smaller area up in that northern part of Georgia. So
Okay.
Speaking of that gentleman, you mentioned he wasn't very well known coming into college. What's the key to getting those kids?
we actually had a guy in Centerville, small town that we live in Iowa, that had moved out to Georgia for a short period of time and came across him, kind of put his name on our radar. We were recruiting him. Then we went out to senior nationals, and that was kind of his first big national exposure. And he made the national semifinals out there. So Definitely made a name for himself, but yeah, just by chance, connection, just knowing the right people to point us in the right direction. So
What are some of the key matches that we need to keep an eye on this year, matches and tournaments?
against the country,
No,
like
like
everyone,
on your schedule.
uh, tomorrow night's a big one. And against North Idaho, they're traditionally, I think they've won the most national championships of any junior college program. So they're a little bit younger this year, but obviously somebody you have to be prepared for all the time. I think Iowa Central, that's the enemy. That's the rival. I can't call it a rival yet, just because we've only done it once and they've done it a lot of times. But definitely the team that I feel like in our conference is who we compare ourselves to. They're kind of the standard right now, even though we won the national title. But they did a heck of a job recruiting this year, and they're hungry. They want to. They're always relevant at the end of the year, but I think they've gone a little bit of a period without a national championship, and you can tell the way they recruited this last offseason. They were running some hammers, and so we're gonna get to see them a lot. Obviously, being so close to them, so I'd say January 21st against Iowa Central will be a big duel, and we've added some cool things to it. So Iowa Public Television has decided to televise it. So we were supposed to duel them maybe next week, but because Iowa Public Television came in, we were able to get it aligned where we were able to switch some dual meets, and we're gonna go up there January 21st. It'll be televised and just be probably neat, and we'll probably walk into a pretty hostile environment, at their place, but be a great environment, great showcase for junior college. I think right now we're both ranked in the top three, and so if it stays that way, it could be a big time duel.
Yeah, we were just talking to Coach Moffitt. He said the Iowa Public Television would be broadcasting, and we were joking about the old VHS tapes back in the day that we used to get all the way in New Jersey. That was like a present that my dad would get. He would get a couple of duels with Iowa, Oklahoma State, or Iowa, Penn State, and man, we had so many good matches on those VHS tapes. I think
It's awesome.
we post one of those online, Jim.
We did. We did. I don't know which one it was, but we did.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
it was you and I and Nebraska maybe.
All right.
That's
Because
cool.
Matt Lindland was in that one.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a really cool concept. They're trying to not they're trying to put an emphasis on non-division one programs, and highlight some of the premier. I mean, we're pretty fortunate in Iowa. I think we had 5 national championships between men's and women's last year, collegiate programs, Wartburg, Grandview, us, men's and women's. There's one other, I'm drawing a blank, but we had 5, I believe. And so we've got a lot of great programs. And so for them to be able to highlight some of those, obviously Iowa and UNI and Iowa State are great, but just highlight some of us that maybe don't get all the publicity all the time in this state, but are really, really successful programs. Pretty neat. Last year they had Grandview versus William Penn women's. I mean, that was 2 top 5, just cool exposure for us, like non-division one programs. So
Coach, you mentioned the crowd and the guys getting to wrestle in that big atmosphere. How important for you as a coach to get those guys those experiences in those big duel matches?
I think it obviously pays dividends later, in the season. But I just think in life, wrestling's a tough, tough freaking sport. We don't get a lot of opportunity to really, showcase everything. We're in the wrestling room all the time, and we get very little time to really highlight what we're doing. So I think just from an opportunity to just highlight all the work that we put in and get put in those neat situations, you know, I think that's what the biggest piece is to me, is just giving them that opportunity, memories for later in life. So
Obviously, you guys are in a location where you can wrestle a lot of different junior colleges. Do you try to balance that out with going to opens and wrestle in other divisions, or do you want those guys to wrestle all the guys that are going to wrestle at nationals?
I try to do a little of everything. Obviously, we're going to see all the Iowa schools in dual meets. So I'll be honest, we don't go to a lot of open tournaments that have a lot of the Iowa junior colleges. So I think we only hit one open in the state of Iowa. So we'll venture out of the state of Iowa just to go see some different schools and some. We want to see junior colleges because obviously it helps with seeding and stuff like that later on in the year. It helps our conference, us seeing those other schools and those other junior colleges. But then we also want to see those different 4 years because it might open up opportunities for the kids, the guys beyond their time with us. So,
Coach, with the national title trophy in the trophy case now, has that helped recruiting this past year?
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt. Definitely heard from kids that there was more, and it wasn't like a ton, but there was more that reached out to us, more of those high level kids that reached out to us versus before. It never hurts to be able to say we've done it. We know what it takes. We know, the magic recipe that you might need to be successful. And, the best want to be around the best. And so they know how tough our wrestling, the competition is just in our room. And that's the only way you elevate your game. That's the only way you get better. So yeah, I definitely think it helped us. Being able to show them the trophy and show them, that success is possible here and, all of those things. So absolutely.
And with the ever-changing landscape in Division I sports these days with NIL, roster caps, and, potentially junior college seasons not counting towards NCAA eligibility, have you noticed an uptick in that regard?
We probably lost in that area because I feel like we were pretty transparent about, that's not true yet. You don't get those years. And I don't know if that was happening everywhere, and I don't want to accuse. But I was very forthcoming with parents that is something that's been discussed but not passed. And I don't want a kid to come here and then think one thing and then leave and find out another thing and then have a bad taste in their mouth about Indian Hills or a program or any of those things. Yeah, I think it could benefit us in the future though. So,
Coach, is there anything about the program this season that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
no, I mean, we are who we are. We're still a new program. This will be our 6th season, but we're doing a pretty good job, I feel like, of establishing ourselves and really, building a brand, versus 4 years ago, 5 years ago when we were nothing. I think people are realizing just kind of we're just creating more of a presence. And so, no, I think, man, everything's kind of out there. We're not changing who we are. We're going to continue to have a successful program, but we're going to also continue to have, successful student athletes. Last year we were number 1 in the country as far as athletic sense, and then we were number 2 in the country academically. And we're about the kids. We're about the building young adults and really establishing them so that they can go out there and they can kill it later in life and come back and tell us some awesome stories. And so, no, I think that's pretty much everything's out there about, we're starting to finally build a face and be recognized. And so,
Coach, is tomorrow's dual match going to be broadcast?
Yep. So it's Go Hills TV, but it's branched underneath the Iowa Media Network. It'll start at 5:30 p.m. Central Time because they've got to get back up to North Idaho's got to get back up to Des Moines. They wrestle at Grandview the next day.
Ooh.
But while it's being broadcasted, it's free. You can just click browse and Iowa Media Network. We do a great job. They do a great job with production. I think we have one of the best media outlets there is as far as streaming in the country at the junior college level. We've got knowledgeable commentators and live scoring, live score clock, everything on there all at once. And we've got a smaller venue that we use, but pretty intimate and pretty fun, and it gets loud and it gets rowdy. And I think tomorrow night it's earlier, so the numbers people might not quite be off work, but I think we'll still have a really good crowd. We're going to recognize the national championship team and do all that stuff. So,
Rich, I know what I'm doing
I was
tomorrow
just gonna
night.
say, I know what I'm doing tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Best
Yep.
of luck with the rest of the season, sir.
Appreciate it. Appreciate everything you guys do, recognizing us smaller programs. So thank you a lot.
Absolutely. We appreciate that. And best of luck tomorrow night, and enjoy your Thanksgiving.
All right. Appreciate it. Enjoy your Thanksgiving too.
Thanks, sir. Have a
care.
great night. All right, y'all. That was Coach Cole Spree. Now we got Art Castillo joining us from Western Wyoming, and I believe he's on the road.
Coach, can you hear me? There he
Hey
is.
guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you? We saw you and then you went away.
You see me now?
No, sir.
Oh man, sorry, I'm trying to make this work here. We're on the road.
There he
How's
is.
There you
that?
are.
Okay. How we doing, guys?
Good.
Awesome. How are
Happy
you?
belated birthday, Coach.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah. I didn't feel old until I work out at a CrossFit gym, and after the workout, they said, "Hey, you got birthday burpees,"
Oh,
and it was 47 of them bad boys after the workout. So I was feeling it a little bit, but that was fun.
what's your Fran time?
I haven't done that one yet. I'm kind of a newbie to it, so I
Okay,
just kind of
right
been
on.
getting into it. So
Cool.
not full-fledged CrossFitter yet, but it's been good for me.
Good. That's good to hear. Jimmy and I are have been CrossFit coaches, and so we've been around the block a few times in the CrossFit community. So it's nice to hear that.
That's awesome.
Where are you on the road to?
So we're heading down to Snow College. We're gonna have some duels
Oh,
tomorrow,
okay.
and then there's an open on Saturday. So
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
We're familiar with Snow. We just had the cross country coach on. They just got fourth at the NJCAA Division I Nationals on Saturday.
oh, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
You have to give us a report on the lay of the land down there. Jimmy and I are looking at different locations to relocate, so that's one of the places.
Yeah. Last time we spoke, you guys were supposed to stop into Rock Springs and check it out too, but
We haven't got out west yet. We're working on it.
It's on the list. Don't think we forgot you, Coach. It's on the list. We just haven't been out west since we last spoke.
yeah, the invite's still there, guys. So
Oh yeah,
anytime you're ready.
heck yeah.
Coach, how's the season treating you so far? We know you're on the road right now, but how's it been so far?
Going good. We just had our first open tournament last Sunday at the School of Mines, and that's always good to get out there and let all your guys wrestle and compete. So that was good. We started out the season hosting Wyoming at our place, which was fantastic. We actually sold out our arena. We sold
Nice.
1,450 tickets.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was phenomenal. It was an awesome event. Wyoming's really good, and so they exposed us in many ways, but it was fun for the fans, and it was a great experience for everybody. And so that was a good way to start the year. And then we headed down to a revived program, Colorado Northwestern in Rangeley, and had a duel there on the 6th. And then, like I said, we just had our first open tournament on Sunday at Mines. And so, yeah, we're up and going.
Coach, who are some of the key returners we need to keep an eye on?
Well, we have 5 returning All-Americans from last year. Zach Marrero, 133. He was 7th last year. Dimitri Alacon was 2nd last year, national runner-up, lost in overtime there and at 141. And then Tommy Dalton lost in the finals last year at 149. Hickson Canto was 6th last year at 157. And Banks Love was 6th last year at 184. And then we had a couple returning, 3 round of 12ers, or three national qualifiers, 2 round of 12ers as well. 65 Banks Norby was a round of 12. Francisco Ayala is down at 74 this year, but he was a round of 12 at 97 last year, and he was actually a 57 pounder that we bumped up to fill a hole. And then Sam May was our other national qualifier. He was at 174 last year. So a lot of championship experience.
Yeah.
What's the key to keeping all those kids?
You know, we just create an environment where they just, you know, they want to be here. They love each other. They're brothers. They're just the campus community is great. The community of Rock Springs and Sweetwater County, they just wrap their arms around these guys, you know. So they just feel loved, and they get a lot of attention, and you know, we're trying to meet all their needs and get them to you know, what's next for them.
Coach, with the upperclassmen lineup pretty heavy, you have some new faces that might be looking to crack the lineup this year?
Yeah. You know, our 125 pounder, Stockton Allen, he wrestled for like a total of 3 minutes last weekend and winning the tournament. I think he pinned his guy in 10 seconds in the finals of that tournament. He's a freshman from Stillwater, Oklahoma. And we have a transfer in from Purdue in Trevin Gates at 197. And then we have 2 returners at heavyweight that weren't in the lineup last year. We had the national champion Demarion Lopez. So we're going to have certainly at least 3 new faces in the lineup for sure.
Coach, sounds like you have a pretty loaded lineup this year. Is there any trouble keeping those kids focused? Do they already think they've got it won, or do they know that they're in for a dogfight and you got them focused?
Well, you know, that's the plan. They know they're in for a dogfight, and we're preparing them for that. You know, as you know, as we found out last year, you know, those teams came and got after it last year, and you know, it was a heck of a national tournament. You know, Indian Hills did a great job and had an amazing tournament, and Clackamas had a great tournament. Iowa Central is always, you know, all those teams are going to be ready to go and preparing, and so that's what we're preparing for. We're preparing for everybody's best, and but you know, we're focused on just getting better every day and doing what we do well.
Coach, what are some of the key dates on the schedule this year? Any particular duels we should keep an eye out for? Any other open tournaments or national duels?
Yeah, you know, we're going to go to Kearney next week. That's a big open after this one. We don't want to look past this one for sure, but we got Kearney, and then we'll have Thanksgiving break, and then we'll come back and have a couple duels, and then we go to Reno, which is always a tough one and great experience for our guys, and then Christmas break, and then we'll come back and go to the national duels. So that's kind of what's coming up.
Will guys stick around campus, or most of the guys head out for the holidays?
Yeah, I think most of them will head home at some point around Christmas, but I think a lot of them will stick around Thanksgiving. But we'll see. You know, we want to give them a break too, both mentally and physically, and you know, we trust them that they're going to continue to do what they need to do. But it's also important to go back home and see family and spend some time with them as well too. So we just got to manage that and balance that as best we can.
Coach, with so many returners, is there anything different this season than it was last season? Yeah,
you know, I mean, even though by and large it's a lot of the same guys, they still have a different identity, and you know, they have different needs, and you know, guys are getting better and you know, figuring things out, how to, you know, do the day-to-day things, and so you're seeing guys advance in all areas as well. So yeah, definitely a different team, and you know, and we're just kind of used to that at the JUCO level.
Coach, it seems like you guys are putting in a lot of miles on the road. How do you keep the guys fresh? And obviously you're getting in the bus and you're going 5 hours every weekend, probably more sometimes. How do you keep them fresh to compete after that long drive?
Yeah, you know, that's all part of our plan too. You know, we really focus on recovery, and you know, in our days off, and and giving them enough time when we do travel to get our good shakeouts and stuff like that. But just with proper fuel and rest and understanding how to recover and those kind of things. But yeah, we're just used to travel, and that's what we do. I mean, you mentioned 5 hours. 5 hours would be one of the closer trips that we have. So yeah, we're used to it.
What's the longest?
Oh, I mean, we fly.
Yeah.
We'll fly to Reno. We'll fly to national duels. If we have to go down to Trinidad or Otero, that's 11, 12 hours. So down that far. Northwest, which is in Wyoming, is 5.5 hours. So it's there's a lot of traveling. Kearney, we'll chop that up into 2 days. We'll go dual Northeastern Junior College on the way. We'll stop there in Sterling, Colorado, and then get up the next day and drive. So that's probably about 10 or so hours there. So
with the time traveling, how do you keep the guys locked in on the academics?
Yeah, we have them bring their stuff.
Yeah.
We prioritize time, for that. They're pretty locked in. We have study hall throughout the week too. So, they're pretty well prepared to leave, and they make arrangements, accordingly and plan it out well in advance. And, I always tell them to bring their stuff on the bus. It's a good time to really catch up on things, really get good starts on whatever may be coming too. So it's a good chance to get ahead.
Now, back in the day, we used to take bus trips all the time for cross country and track meets. Is there a go-to movie that the team watches trip after trip, or they mix it up a lot?
Well, I don't think we have TVs on this bus. It's a really nice bus. I don't know if you could see that back there. We have TVs and everything, but they bring the Xbox or the PlayStation and plug it in. They can actually play that on here. So they do that from time to time, but I think they're mostly just watching. If they're watching movies, it's on their phones, on their phones or their computers. So yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have that back then.
No.
No. Coach, when I was in college, we got caught in a snowstorm on the way to a duel, and then there was a car accident. So the guys had to weigh in on the bus and warm up on the bus because they were late. And then, like, the minute they got off the bus, it was go. They started the match. They didn't have any time to warm up. Do you have any kind of funny stories or things like that have ever happened?
Yeah, actually, I do. We were dueling and against Montana State Northern all the way up in Havre. And, we were on a 2-lane road, and I was working on, it was one of my first years as a head coach. And I was working on my master's at the time too. And I told the bus driver, I said, hey, this road is going to want to lead you to this other town. There's a mountain pass up here that we have to take a left at. And so just make sure that you're aware of it, and I told her a couple times, and I started typing and ended up actually falling asleep while I with my computer open typing, and I woke up and it said like 20 miles to Malta, Montana, which was way out of the way. And so I had to call Tyson Thieveridge and tell him, hey, we're going to be late. We got to push weigh-ins back and push the duel back. And this was our first duel of the year for most of my guys, it was like their first college experience. So it was very interesting. So yeah, I went up to the front of the bus and cranked the heat up, and we just started pummeling and doing jumping jacks and that kind of stuff in the aisle. And it was a heck of an experience. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, in all your years of coaching, how has your coaching style changed?
Oh, it's changed quite a bit. You have to adapt and innovate. I mean, it's essential. I talk to a lot of guys, my older guys that I coach now, and they come around, and we got some guys still living in town that they'll come by occasionally, and they'll tell the guys like, yeah, coach is soft now. He was way tougher on us, but there's just so many things that I've changed over the years, just kind of like picking your battles and, where to put energy and things like that. And, just at the same time too, we're coaching different athletes than we were 15 years ago. Now in my 16th year, especially as a new coach, I didn't have the athletes that I do now. So we were coaching things like effort and other things like that. We're so far down the road now with these guys are really good at wrestling. So it's just different in many ways. For sure, and just the resources that we have now at Western are way different. I didn't have a coach's office. We didn't have a locker room. I didn't have a coach. We were wrestling with an old classroom. I was part-time, non-benefit. I had a full-time job off campus, and so just the interactions that I would have with the guys on a daily basis is different. So it's just apples to oranges compared to how it used to be when I started.
Coach, back in 2010 when I took my level 1 CrossFit certification with Jimmy, I did it because I thought it was the most bang for your buck in terms of improving my coaching my track and field and cross country athletes in the weight room. Now that you're doing CrossFit, do you see any benefit to that and some things that you might be able to incorporate with the wrestlers?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. I do. For me, like I said, I just turned 47. I feel as good as I have in my 40s. I feel better than I have even in my late 30s in terms of mobility, and just, I feel strong, and just I feel I'm in good shape. It's created a level of consistency for me too in my personal life where, in the summertime, maybe I'm out on the golf course a lot more than I should be. And this is really kind of cut into my golfing. And so, it's just helped me so much in that area too. But yeah, just the little things, from dumbbell stuff to banding stuff to just even the way to modify some things sometimes and scale some things and just the understanding of you can get some great workouts in 10 to 12 minutes and just it's been really helpful in those ways for sure.
Nice. And
in fact, the guy who owns that gym's a good friend of mine. We've actually brought him on as our strength coach this year too. So he played college football and so he's got a great understanding of athletics and stuff like that in general. So it's been a game changer for us too, having him on board.
Coach, you mentioned when you first started that you were working and the wrestling was a part-time job. And sorry if you said this the first time you were on. I'm a bad host. I didn't go back and listen to the podcast. But
that's okay.
My question for you is, was there any point in that grind that it was getting too much, or did you see the light at the end of the tunnel the whole time that you were going to be able to turn it into a full-time position?
Wow. Great question. Also, I was newly married at that time. And so when the opportunity presented itself to take a full-time job on campus, which was not till 2-3 years later, my wife was like, "What are you doing?" So I ended up actually cutting my salary in half when I did decide to do that. But yeah, I guess I would be lying if I said, "Hey, yeah, this is, we have everything in place to be successful." I guess I just really believed in the people. I believed in, in the community. Wrestling's really important where we're at. And, I thought, we've surround ourselves with the right people and, with the vision and a plan and a lot of hard work, we can really make something out of this. And so that's really, what I did. I guess I'd be lying if I said, yeah, I saw all this happening, but one of the first interactions I had with our AD after being hired, I set a list of goals and they were to, to get a full-time position, to have a weight room, to have a locker room, to have a coach's office, and then performance-wise to win an academic title, to win a national title. And so, she kind of looked at me and basically, I can't remember what she said verbatim, but what I heard her say was, "You got to crawl before you can walk," type of thing. Just you Neanderthals, just go over there in the corner and don't make any noise. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the way I took it. But yeah, we've come a long way since then. That's for sure.
Well, Coach, dabs to you, because Rich and I know what that grind's like when you're chasing that coaching grind or just trying to stay in the sport, but you got your foot 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We know how hard that can be. So, sir, you are living the dream. So, dabs to you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach, is there anything about the program, about this year's team that we haven't covered that you want the audience to know?
Dude, I'm impressed with them at this point. They're doing a great job. They're doing well academically. They're doing everything I ask them to do, and they're a lot of fun, a lot of personalities. I just really enjoy being around them. It's always the best part of what I do is the guys. So yeah, I'm really impressed with them so far, and I'm convinced that they're going to put the work in that's needed and make the adjustments as we go. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thank you for taking time on the drive to chat with the Airey Bros. Looks like you're in a pretty nice bus. So have safe travels and best of luck with the rest of the season.
I appreciate it. Thanks for getting us together, guys. You guys are great.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you. Safe travels. Best of luck with the upcoming competitions and enjoy your holiday season.
Thanks. Likewise.
Thank you, sir.
Take
Have a
care,
great night.
sir.
Safe travels.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Coach Art Castillo joining us from Western Wyoming. That is it for our NJCAA Wrestling Preview Roundtable. Well, we hope you're enjoying these roundtables because we got more coming at you next week. As we mentioned earlier in the podcast, there is the NJCAA, but there is also the 3C2A, which is the California State Junior College System. So we'll be checking in with some cross-country coaches next week on Monday to discuss the CCAA State/National Championships. And then on Tuesday evening, we've got an NAIA season preview for wrestling. So that is all for us this week. We hope you enjoyed the shows. Don't forget, this is a value for value program over here. So if you're getting any value out of anything we're doing over here, you're liking anything we do, please give us a little bit of value back. Jimmy and I love our coffee, and still waiting on that Paper Street order, so we got to order some more. So